Oh, hello, and welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda, and I'm happy that you're here. In this bonus episode of Midnight Murmurs, we are going to be revisiting our good friend Robert Frost. It is spring outside, and the time has come for us to read Poems of Spring. We've survived the cold, bitter winter, and now it's time to celebrate as life comes back renewed. If you're ready to celebrate the return of good weather, I invite you to grab a beverage, kick back, and let's dive in. Poems of Spring. A prayer in spring. Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away. As the uncertain harvest, keep us here, all simply in the springing of the year. Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night. And make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating round the perfect trees. And make us happy in the darting bird that suddenly above the bees is heard. And meteor that thrusts in with needle bill, and off a blossom in mid-air stands still. For this is love, and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify to what far ends he will, but which it only needs that we fulfill. Frost often wrote about time, about how things change and cannot stay the way things are. In this poem, he looks around him and sees the glorious beauty of a spring day, and he prays that it could somehow be kept so that it would not disappear. In fact, the poet sees the day as being love itself, something that is sanctified, but even as he utters the prayer, he knows it cannot be answered. Next, we have A Time to Talk. When a friend calls to me from the road and slows his horse to a meaning walk, I don't stand still and look around. On all the hills I haven't hoed and shout from where I am, "What is it?" No, not as there is a time to talk. I thrust my hoe in the mellow ground, blade end up, and 5 feet tall, and plod. I go up to the stone wall for a friendly visit. A gardener in the middle of his work may not always want to stop his summertime hoeing, but in this poem, the gardener pauses for a friend. He is quite different from the neighbor in the mending wall, who will not interrupt his work for a friendly chat. The last line is short, as though he is stopping the poem so he can go for his visit. Aw, that's sweet. 2 friends being friends. Everyone needs a friend. To the thawing wind. Come with rain, O loud southwester. Bring the singer, bring the nester. Give the buried flower a dream. Make the settled snowbank steam. Find the brown beneath the white. But whate'er you do tonight, bathe my window, make it flow, melt it as the ice will go. Melt the glass and leave the sticks, like a hermit's crucifix. Burst into my narrow stall, swing the picture on the wall, run the rattling pages o'er, scatter poems on the floor, turn the poet out of door. I liked all the descriptors and the consonants in that poem. That had a nice flow to it. First, the poem calls to the thawing wind, asking it to bring an end to winter and to usher in spring. But soon it changes, as we learn that the speaker is also a poet. By the end, he is asking the wind to bring him inspiration for his poetry, to bring him and it new life outdoors. I love that interpretation. After a long winter indoors, this poem is like the perfect spring breeze, like blow in, spring wind, blow in the next season, and let's all go outside. We finally get to be outside again. Pea brush. I walked down a lone Sunday after church to the place where John has been cutting trees to see for myself about the birch. He said I could have to brush my peas. The sun in the new cut narrow gap was hot enough for the 1st of May, and stifling hot with the odor of sap from stumps still bleeding their life away. The frogs that were peeping 1,000 shrill, wherever the ground was low and wet, the minute they heard my step went still, to watch me and see what I came to get. Birch boughs enough piled everywhere, all fresh and sound from the recent axe. Time someone came with a cart and pair and got them off the wildflowers' backs. They might be good for garden things, to curl a little finger round, the same as you seize cats' cradle strings and lift themselves up off the ground. Small good to anything growing wild. They were crooking many a trillium that had budded before the boughs were piled, and since it was coming up had to come. Birch boughs can be good for staking up peas, because peas send little tendril-like fingers to climb up stakes. But when Frost finds some birch boughs in this poem, they are doing something quite different. Dear listener, leave a comment down below. Did you understand this poem? What did it mean? This one is a little bit confusing to me. What are the birch boughs doing? This man is obsessed with birch trees. Birches. When I see birches bend to left and right, across the lines of straighter dark trees, I like to think some boy's been swinging them. But swinging doesn't bend them down to stay, as ice storms do. Often you must have seen them, loaded with ice a sunny winter morning after a rain. They click upon themselves as the breeze rises, and turn many-colored as the stir cracks and crazes their enamel. Soon the sun's warmth makes them shed crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow crust, such heaps of broken glass to sweep away. You'd think the inner dome of heaven had fallen. They are dragged to the withered bracken by the load, and they seem not to break, though once they are bowed, so low for long, they never right themselves. You may see their trunks arching in the woods, years afterwards, trailing their leaves on the ground like girls on hands and knees that throw their hair before them over their heads to dry in the sun. But what I was going to say, when truth broke in, with all her matter of fact about the ice storm, I should prefer to have some boy bend them, as he went out and in to fetch the cows. Some boy too far from town to learn baseball, whose only play was what he found himself, summer or winter, and could play alone. One by one he subdued his father's trees, by writing them down over and over again, until he took the stiffness out of them, and not one but hung limp, not one was left for him to conquer. He learned all there was to learn about not launching out too soon, and so not carrying the tree clear to the ground. He always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully with the same pains you'd use to fill a cup, up to the brim, and even above the brim. Then he flung outward, feet first, with a swish, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. And was I once myself a swinger of birches? And so I dream of going back to be. It's when I'm weary of considerations, and life is too much like a pathless wood, where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs broken across it, and one eye is weeping from a twig's having lashed across it open. I'd like to get away from earth a while, and then come back to it and begin over. May no fate willfully misunderstand me, and half grant what I wish, and snatch me away not to return. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I'd like to go by climbing a birch tree, and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk toward heaven, till the tree could bear no more, but dip to its top and set me down again. That would be good, both going and coming back. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches. He got me. I started this poem making fun of him, and then he left me in tears by the profoundness. Birches are flexible trees. You can climb up into one until it can barely support your weight, then kick out, and the tree will bow you to the ground, then lift you up again. For Frost, that movement suggests a much larger meaning about how we are to live our lives. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches is so lovely. Mr. Frost, you got me in the feels. And finally, our last poem of spring is Mending Wall. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it, and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair, where they have left not one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The gaps, I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line, and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each. And some are loaves, and some so nearly balls, we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game. One on a side. It comes to little more. There where it is we do not need the wall. He is all pine, and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says, good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head, why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say elves to him, but it's not elves exactly, and I'd rather he say it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top, in each hand, like an old stone savage armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only, and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. If you own a rock wall, and there are many of these in New England, spread across fields to mark the boundaries of land, each spring you need to walk along the wall and replace the stones that the winter ice or rabbit hunters have knocked to the ground. But this year, while he lugs the stones, Frost begins to wonder why he needs the fence at all. His neighbor has a ready answer. Well, dear listener, do you agree? Do you think good fences make good neighbors? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your perspective, and also I would love to hear what your favorite spring poem was out of this reading. I think I'm going to have to pick birches. Thanks for taking a walk down memory lane with me again. This particular book is a poetry book from my childhood, and I think the illustrations are beautiful. So if you enjoyed any of the poems from this video or any of the other bonus videos, I highly encourage you to go ahead and purchase this volume and explore more of Robert Frost's poems. I appreciate your viewership. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe for more videos coming your way soon in the next season of Midnight Murmurs, Stories for Swift Nights. I hope you're having a wonderful day, night, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!